Okay, sorry about that, everyone. I just had some technical issues there. Hopefully, we should be able to just run this through. So I'll try to go through the stuff we already went through relatively quick. I just had to internet crash. You know how it goes, those kind of things. Okay, so just to kind of go through the beginning for those of you who are just watching this and didn't see the previous stream. So I just wanted to cover my trip to Europe, go through some of the major sites I saw. For this one, we're mostly just going to be looking at Berlin and Dresden. I also have the what is it called again? The map open, so I can tell you specifically what things are beyond just just what the location is. So if you're looking at that, and things like that. So we'll have that up, and I'm just going to kind of go through. As I was saying, I think it's kind of good to do this periodically because it's a way to remember things. You kind of you combining different types of memory together, like experiencing it and then recalling it like this. I think is kind of a good way to try to deal with it. So sorry about that, just technical issues, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. So, like I was saying, this was just the subway heading into. I left my house at about, I think it was 6 a.m. in the morning. My flight was at about 9. You're supposed to get to the airport 3 hours early for international flights. I don't think it's even security. I think it's just so that there's time for them to load uh the bags, which is kind of unfortunate because it's kind of unfortunate because the security at the airport near me takes basically no time to get through. So if I didn't have to be there for the bags to be loaded, I could probably literally go like an hour and a half before the thing even started, and it would be good. So I left my house at 6 o'clock Central Time, and then I got to the. I arrived in Berlin at about 8 a.m. Europe time, so it was about 21 hours. There was like a 3 hour layover in Toronto. Where I live is it's kind of awkward to try to get to. Anywhere in Europe or the rest of the world, just because not that many planes come through here direct. Most of them come through Winnipeg. So let me just make sure I have everything open. Once again, sorry about that. Right. So, yeah, that's just the German subway system. It took me a little while to figure it out. I mean, once again, I was going off of almost 48 hours with no sleep at this point in time, so my brain wasn't exactly working very well. A lot of this trip was just me chugging energy drinks. I went through a lot of Red Bulls and a lot of rock stars on this trip, just because subway system. I tend to have a pretty rapid pace when I'm doing these, so I would normally do about 30,000 steps in a day or so. So I was kind of exhausted. So I was having trouble trying to figure the whole thing out because I don't know, Berlin's transit system is a little more confusing than a lot of other things. Than some of the other cities I went to. In particular, Prague is a very simple one. Okay, so that's the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. It was destroyed during World War II. The ruins of it are pretty cool, though. That's where I got off. It's kind of cool. The train from the airport to the city is above ground. It took about, I think, half an hour or so, which was kind of nice because then I could kind of go through Berlin a bit, get a bit of the lay of the land. It was nice. Something I do, which you may or may not want to do, your mileage may vary, as with most things in life. Whenever I go to a city, I normally there is something called a city card. And the city card will be the municipal government or municipal tourism, whatever, will go to a whole bunch of different main attractions in the city and they will get them included on one card. So the card might be like 100 euros or something, but it'll include an entrance to like 300 or 400 euros worth of stuff. And I paid a bit extra, so it came with a discounted transit pass that you could use it for. So that I liked. So that was neat. The thing I like about the city passes is it means I'll go to things that I wouldn't normally go to just because they're included. Like if I'm in an area and there happens to be something there that's included, I'll just say, you know what, I wouldn't normally go to something like this, and you can find some real gems and just some stuff that you wouldn't normally take a look at. So this was the Spree River. This is the main river that goes through the center of Berlin. As with most major cities, it's either built on a river or a lake or the ocean or something like that. It's not a particularly big river, but it was just kind of nice. Um, this was what was it called again? Tiergarten. Tiergarten. This is the big park in the middle of Berlin. As I was saying earlier, it very much just feels like Canada. The flora is very similar. Um, if I hadn't have known I was in Europe, I would think I was just in kind of a park down the street, really, from where I live, actually. Although obviously it doesn't get nearly as cold in Germany, but like a lot of the trees, like you have oak trees, you have spruce trees, you have like I think maple trees, uh, pine trees, obviously, and stuff like that because you're in like North Central Europe. So it was kind of cool to just see that. It kind of reminded me of home. So yeah, so Brandenburg Gate. Brandenburg Gate is pretty spectacular. It's I'm not sure if I'd say it's probably a bit bigger than I thought it was. You get kind of a good sense of scale from this one, just looking at the people down below. As I was saying, this was actually taken by Napoleon after the Battle of Jena. However, it was retrieved in the aftermath of the Napoleonic Wars and brought back here. I don't think the Brandenburg Gate it was not destroyed. I don't think during World War II. It was damaged, but I think in some of the things you can still see it. Now I'm not sure if it's in this if these are it, but a general thing is in Berlin whenever there's anything that's been restored or was present during World War II, you can often see little plaster holes in it, which is from bullet holes because the Soviets and German and Wehrmacht just waged an extremely long, brutal fight for this city. So the there's just bullet holes all over the place. If you go up along the side of walls, you'll see little like trenches dug into it where a bullet skidded off of it. And you'll just see a lot of that, particularly throughout the downtown. It just kind of adds a bit of flavor to it. And then there's just the Brandenburg Gate. It goes into Tiergarten. In the back, there's the main city park, and then there's like the main thoroughfare for the downtown, which is kind of a cool area. You have these in a lot of European cities. I find there's one I forget what it's called in Paris, but there's one in Madrid, which is pretty cool. I think one of the things that happened, I remember the story. There used to be really old, tall trees here to provide shade. For some reason, Hitler had them all cut down. I think it was as part of doing a march or something, and people complained, so they replanted the trees. But it takes a couple 100 years for the trees to get that big again. Okay, so we had this. This was a free exhibition I just came across by complete accident in the in downtown Berlin, not far from the Brandenburg Gate. This was just a whole bunch of Volkswagen stuff. I think the Volkswagen headquarters had this. This was just some of their iconic car brands, some of their iconic branding over time. It was just kind of cool to see some of this stuff in person. I hadn't really seen it before. Apparently, there was a Porsche bicycle. I did not know that this existed, but it was kind of neat to see. And then we just have some other Volkswagen stuff. I just took a picture of this for an obvious reason. We won't go on about it. So this is, I think, the old royal palace. Let me just take a peek. I actually, this was the only place I bought souvenirs on my trip. There is a dude there who sells like world Weimar Republic and DDR memorabilia. So I got a couple East German medals from there, which were kind of cool. And then I also got a billion Reichsmarks bill and a $500 million Reichsmarks bill from the 1930s during hyperinflation, which I just thought was kind of cool. And I have those. I have the bills on my desk at work now, and it's kind of cool to say to show someone and go, "Look, I have a billion of a currency here." Let me just see. What was this building? This was. Okay. I'm just double checking which this was. I think that's the old royal palace. No, it's not Madame Tussauds. It's not Humboldt University. Okay, well, I'm having trouble figuring out which building that is. I think that that is the royal palace, though. We're just gonna go ahead and say that that's the royal palace, or one of the royal palaces. There is obviously several because this is Berlin. It is the former capital of the German Empire and the Kingdom of Prussia. So yeah, so there's a guy there who is selling that stuff. That is the statue of Friedrich the Great. Um, there is a significance to the number of hooves that are on the ground. Now, I can't remember what it is exactly. If there's one on the ground, if that means that they were wounded. If there's two on the ground, if that means that they were killed. Um, or something like that. But that is Frederick the Great, which was cool to see. I always like seeing those iconic statues. When I was in London, I got to see Nelson's Pillar, which is something that I thought was pretty cool. So just a couple more pictures of this kind of gives you an idea of what downtown this is not far from the Brandenburg Gate, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the area looks like. And then that's just a couple different things. Let me just double check what that is. That is. I'm trying to remember what that church is called. Oh, that is St. Hedvig's Cathedral. It was unfortunately closed. I couldn't go inside it there. That is the. So I'm just looking what that was again. I forget what that building was. Um, but this is where the book burning happened. So you can't see it here, but there is a monument which is like an underground uh cavern with a I think it's a bunch of empty bookshelves in it that is like covered by glass. So this is where like the big Goebbels book burning happened. So there is a monument to commemorate that. They were trying to tell us a story to make us hate the Nazis more. So apparently, Berlin was a world leader in research into diseases that are gotten by homosexual men. And that was all burned during the book burning, and that set back that type of science by decades. So they told us that story. Yeah, here we go. This is it. This is the guy. I think he's over here. But yeah, in front of the or is this Humboldt University? Maybe that's Humboldt University. I think that's Humboldt. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's, oh, okay. No, it's not the Royal Palace. It's Humboldt University. Well, it kind of looks like a palace, doesn't it? Yeah. So that's where you have the people. They sell old books. They sell stuff like that here. There's just another picture of Humboldt University. Just some more of the kind of the cool architecture you have in downtown Berlin. This was the first thing I got. Well, I got some other stuff, but this was actually the first time I had tried beer. I don't really drink, as you guys know, but I wanted to try the German experience, so I figured I'd get a I forget what type of sausage that was, but I figured I'd get a sausage and a beer. Um, for whatever reason, in Germany, the sausages are served on like dinner rolls, unlike America, where you have like a full bun that covers the entire sausage. But that one was beautiful. It was fresh. It was full of herbs. It was delicious. I did not enjoy the beer. I had beer at a couple different places I went. I didn't really care for it. I just don't think it's really my thing. I see why people like it. I just don't enjoy it myself. So like I said, I don't really drink. No, it's not a bratwurst. It's some other kind of sausage. And then this is just the Spree River. This is where I got my hot dog and my sausage, and over here is Museum Island, which is the main reason I even came to Berlin. We'll take a look at that in a bit. That is just the side of Museum Island. I think I'm trying to see which museum that is. That was I think that might have been the new museum. I think that might have been. Oh, we'll go over it in a second. That is no, it's not the Humboldt Forum. Okay, museum insult. I'm just trying to there's like 5 different museums there. I'm just trying to recall which one is which. That is the art museum, if I recall. Let me just look at this up. Museum Island. Oh, Eltes Museum. Okay, the Eltes Museum. So that is let me see. The Eltes Museum. That is the old gallery. Oh no, that is the old museum, and that contains that is an art museum. Uh I think that was I think that's where the national collection of the Hohenzollern dynasty is, and it was built for that purpose. Um I don't think I take another picture of it, but there is a trend at the time of putting giant bowls and things. So there is a massive bowl there that was going to go into the Eltes Museum. However, the building was finished before they could put the bowl into the museum. So it couldn't fit inside the museum itself. So because of that, they just left it out front, and they spent all this time and money building the bowl that never actually went in the museum. That is the Berlin Cathedral. Now, it is not actually a cathedral; it is a parish church, actually, because it is Lutheran. So that is funded by the congregation. Now, this is Germany, so there is church taxes, which I believe probably pays for it. But it is. I took some pictures of it later. It is a very beautiful building. It's not a particularly good photo of it. Yeah, there we go. It's on Museum Island. You can see the Spree River over there. That is let me see, which museum is that? So Museum Island is, as it suggests, it's an island with all of Berlin's most prestigious museums on it. Unfortunately, the really big one, the Pergamon, was closed, so I couldn't go to that. Apparently, it's falling into the river, so they have to fix it up. But it's where the Gate of Babylon is. So that would have been cool. 1 second. Okay, let's see here. Gate. Just see where it is. Yeah, I wanted to go see that, but the Pergamon was unfortunately closed, so I wasn't able to see it, which is sad because it's beautiful. What they did have there, and I couldn't take a picture of it, so I'll just show you it. Uh, they have the Nefertiti bust there, so I got to see this in person, which was kind of cool. It's very no, it's going to be like another 20 years till the Pergamon Museum is finished, but I got to see that, which was pretty cool. You can't take pictures in there though. There's like a whole dispute between the German government and the Egyptian government over the status of the Nefertiti statue, because it was legally taken, but it was legally taken at a time when Egypt was part of the Ottoman Empire. So they're arguing that the Ottoman Empire was a colonial power and couldn't consent. But Germany's not going to return it because it brings in millions of tourists. Just some other shots of the Berlin Cathedral. That was a Berliner donut. The baked goods in Europe are incredible. I just that was one of the best donuts I've ever had. That thing was fucking beautiful. I loved it. That is the that's the National Museum. No, it's going to be like another decade, or it's going to be a long time till they're finished redoing the Pergamon. Let me just see. It's always a little hard just because I don't speak German, so the names are not as familiar as some things. This is the Old National Gallery. There's kind of a cool courtyard outside of it. That's just a model of University Island. Just my uncle's really involved with Rotary, so I took that picture. There's just kind of a good. That's kind of the main park or whatever in the middle of Museum Island. And then I was just heading back. So there. This is so. We'll talk about Ample Man. So Ample Man is the go stop traffic light man in East Germany. Now in North America, we just have a much simpler one, but this was the one that they had in East Germany and East Berlin. And people, it just kind of became very iconic. It became very iconic. People thought it was cute. People thought it was funny. So ironically, in West Berlin, whenever a traffic light goes out, they replace it with this one. I think they had this in Munich too. It's kind of iconic, and the city sells a lot of merchandise with him on it, which is kind of neat. There's another thing of the Brandenburg Gate. That is the Reichstag. We'll get back to the Reichstag a bit later, because I had like a quest to try to figure out where the picture of the Soviet soldier was taken, and that actually took me quite a while to try to figure that one out. But this is the Holocaust Memorial, one of many Holocaust memorials. It's just all these giant blocks. Yeah, okay. So let me try to explain what this even is. So there's just it's this just massive park of all these varying size concrete blocks. The ground within it is very uneven. It's kind of a weird experience going through it. Like it kind of screws with your head a bit. Just because of how uneven everything is. And it feels like you're in like a maze level back in a maze level in like a video game or something. And there's a bunch of different interpretations of it. I don't really want to talk too much about the Holocaust, but it was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting. It's pretentious and postmodern, but it kind of works as like a hedge maze type thing. This was a mural from the DDR days. I admit I snicker whenever I see DDR. It's funny because in some places in Germany they translate it half translated, sometimes they don't. So the acronym in English is either GDR or DDR for Deutschland Democratic Republic or German Democratic Republic. So you see it in both cases, and I'm used to DDR. So whenever I saw GDR, I'm like, what is the GDR? What is that? But that's it. So this was a mural they did back in the day. That is one of the few remaining pieces of the Berlin Wall. Most of it was torn down. A lot of it was just done for souvenirs. In particular, I remember I have a piece of it because I got the World in Conflict Collector's Edition and it came with a piece of it. But you could buy them all throughout the city. The Berlin Wall actually went up pretty late. I think it was the 60s. It might have been the 60s it went up in. Yeah, 61. It went up fairly into the Cold War. Now, something I had always wondered is how did they get the people out after they crossed the Berlin Wall? They crossed the Berlin Wall from East Berlin into West Berlin, but Berlin is surrounded by the DDR, so there's no land way to get out. So American aircraft were allowed to leave and enter at will. So Germans who fled East Berlin would go across the Berlin Wall, and then they would be flown out from West Berlin to the rest of the Federal Republic. And taking them in was overwhelmingly popular. This is Berlin, so this was the capital of East Germany. So you had a lot of like educated people and scientists and stuff like that who were trying to get to West Germany, and they were generally speaking pretty happy to have them, and it led to a brain drain of sorts. Now the Berlin Wall is actually two walls. This is one, then there's a bit of a no man's land, and then there's a second Berlin Wall. And then I just took a picture. This was Five Guys. Why is there Five Guys in Berlin? Because why not? This was kind of a weird area where there's like the strange mixture of like old architecture, communist architecture, and like postmodern architecture. So this was like some of the postmodern architecture that they had. I think this is postmodern at least. Now, my understanding as to so they were saying you as a West German were allowed to go into East Berlin and come back out, and they wouldn't try to kidnap you. So a lot of apparently West Germans, West Berliners would go to East Berlin to do shopping because their dollar or their currency went a lot further than it did in the western part. So that was fairly common. That is assuming that there was stuff to buy, though. So this just kind of felt like something from a sci-fi movie or a video game level. That was just. I admit I did go to McDonald's a bit when I was in Europe. At my hotel, breakfast was 15 euros a day, and I'm just like, fuck you, I'm not paying that. So I just went to McDonald's. That was a cinnamon roll I had there. That was amazing. That just even the McDonald's there was really good. So for those of you in North America and Europe, they don't really have many public bathrooms. So the best way I find normally to um is to go into McDonald's and just buy like a drink or an espresso or something like that, and then use their bathroom. Because otherwise, it's normally about 50 cents to like a euro 50 in order to use it. Now, this might be heretical. I don't like Five Guys myself. I like their fries are amazing. I don't like their burgers really. I find them kind of messy and they don't really season them. I tend to like my burgers with like more seasoning, like garlic, onion, salt, and pepper, and theirs I just kind of find bland. Okay, so this was the Museum of East Germany of the DDR. It was actually really cool because when I came there, I really didn't know anything about the DDR. I knew that it existed. I knew that there was a East Germany. I knew that it was communist, but I didn't really know anything about the culture there or what it was like and that kind of stuff. So it was really fascinating to get to go and take a look at it. And I did a video about it just at the day after I went to this museum and the Stasi museum. And there's a certain shitty charm to the People's Republic or the German Democratic Republic. Yeah, the it's because everything in their society revolved around ideology, around the triumph of man over nature, around socialism. It's interesting to me as like a Canadian and living in kind of an atomized multicultural society for society to have such a unified purpose. Like all the magazines served the ideological interests of the state. All of the private organizations, like the sports and stuff, were like that, were all run by the government, were associated with the Communist Party, and just the idea was all of society had to work together towards the collective good. And I just find that very interesting and just kind of just a very different way of looking at the world and just kind of a different way of kind of doing it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Just seeing some of the stuff what an East German apartment looked like. They had one there. What I find interesting, and I think it was more like this in East Germany than elsewhere in the Eastern Bloc, but there was medals for literally everything. Like just about anything that you could do or not do, you would get a medal for in East Germany, which is just something I found kind of interesting. Just how strong it just seemed like there was more of a reward and punishment system there than in most parts of even communist societies. It was a communist kitchen. Once again, just kind of looks like a normal kitchen to me. I mean, it's kind of shitty, but most stuff during the 1960s and 70s looks kind of shitty today. So, this was not far from there. There was, I think that's the last statue of Marx and Engels in Berlin. They've been taken down. Most of them have been taken down. I think, I forget if it's in Berlin or Prague or Budapest, but there's a statue garden like what they have in Moscow, where they put all the statues that they've removed as part of decommunization or whatever it would be called, removing the communist stuff. Okay, so just another picture of Marx and Engels and just some random kids. That is, I think, the old city hall. I actually went in there. There's a lot of oh no, or I forget if I went in there or down the street. There's like a mall there. Got some European candy and got some more energy drinks. There was a lot of energy drinks involved with this trip. I think that's Old City Hall. I'm just trying to see where this was again. There was also a samurai museum that I wasn't able to make it to, unfortunately. No, it's not Old City Hall. Is it New City Hall? Yeah, it's the New City. Okay, that's New City Hall. This was made in 1869, and it's neo-Renaissance. I just like the red brick a lot. So there's another wider shot of it. A couple more pictures. That's just a big statue to Poseidon they had. Just kind of cool. Now, what is the name of that church again? I think that is a Lutheran church. I don't remember though. Let me just trying to remember what it was called. Some of these just have like long unpronounceable German names. That's just the thing. The Germans just like, for the Germans, sentences are for like pussies. Real men just stick a whole bunch of syllables together in order to come up with something. I have my map here from when I was in Europe. I'm just trying to find which church this is. This it? I think this is St. Mary's Church. I don't recall the inside being that interesting, I don't think. But there was kind of this cool picture. I think this is the harrowing. This is how I always pictured Christ entering hell to save the souls in limbo. Is just him coming in there with like a spear and just like beating all the demons up and rescuing the souls and coming out. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so this was from a this was just something that was randomly on my ticket. This is Little Big City. So this is a giant miniature I don't know if you want to call it a museum, attraction, but there's just a whole bunch of stuff from the history of Berlin, but done in miniature form. So I just thought it was kind of neat. It was kind of a fun thing to go through. You have stuff going back to like the medieval era. I thought that one was kind of funny because um, it says that the Hohenzollern dynasty ended in 1915, which is wrong. But the German says 1918. So the typo is only on the English version, which I kind of find weird. So we just have some of the various buildings and stuff. It's cool, like that boat went around in circles. It's really impressive how they do all this stuff. A lot of these things you could go up and put your hand on, and they would light up, and all the stuff would start going. Thought the train yard was kind of cool. There's a train shed. That's a factory from the Industrial Revolution part. That is, think that's from the Nazi era. Yeah, there we go. We have the this one. I can't believe that they had that, but it was awesome. It was kind of cool. They had one from post World War II. Berlin. I forget where this was from. Yeah, they have the book burning. Oh, that's the Reichstag fire. Okay, that's the Reichstag fire. That's the book burning. I think that is from the post-communist era or something like that. So that was kind of neat. Then we have Checkpoint Charlie and the standoff. I actually went to Checkpoint Charlie. That was one person went across the Berlin Wall by ziplining over it. And then that is the reunification of Germany there. So that was kind of cool. So this was from the Berlin TV tower. That was just something that was included as part of my ticket. So it just was kind of cool to get a bit of a panoramic view. You can kind of get a little bit of what I'm talking about because you have like these buildings from like the 19th century or older and kind of the older architectural style. Then you also will have commie blocks, and you'll also have like kind of postmodern stuff. So it's this really weird mix of stuff. That is the statue of Poseidon that we just saw. Little Big City is down there. Yeah, so you can kind of see there's the Berlin Cathedral. Trying to find where the area with all the, there we go. That's the area with all the commie blocks. That is a lot of commie blocks. So and then once again, you kind of have the weird mixture of like older stuff, commie blocks, and like new postmodern things. I had to take a picture of that. That I believe is the AfD's headquarters. I think that that is where they meet to plot their like neo-fascist regime. Is it the manga mafia? I actually went in there. It was super expensive. And then I had to take a picture of that. The Sex Machchen, and that is the Dildo King Germany. So this was just I was at a museum of optical illusions, which was really shitty, but I just thought that was kind of a cool picture. That was just once again Manga Mafia. It's a church. There was like an aquarium exhibit I went to that was just included, but I just thought that turtle was really cute. Look at him. Look at him with his eyes closed. He's adorable. Now, which church was this again? I don't remember actually. That was near. Let me see where the Stasi headquarters was. The Stasi Museum. I'm just trying to see what the church is near there. Okay, I'm not sure exactly, but it was next to the Stasi Museum. I just thought it was a very beautiful building, very German looking, very German looking. Um, so then this was the Stasi Museum. At the Stasi Museum, it's actually in the old Stasi headquarters. So you go in there and you get to go through like you get to go through all of the locations, like where the agents actually worked. They had a lot of kind of cool exhibits. So this was a listing device that was installed in the cardboard of a wall. As you can see, there's just a ton of batteries hooked up to it. Um, that was like a mini camera, a wallet camera that they had. That was a camera that they had in a pocket. So they just had a bunch of stuff about the Stasi. It was just fascinating because of how big it was and how all encompassing it was. I found this interesting. The Ministry of State Security was also required to maintain secrecy for their families. Talking about their workday was not permitted. Roles in the families were usually traditional. Wives were responsible for raising the children and keeping the house. The Stasi considered a proper marriage essential to stabilizing its employees. The Ministry of State Security often encouraged the wives and children of employees to work for the organization as well. So, the Czech Republic is much more atheistic than Germany is. Then in the bathroom at the Stasi headquarters, they had a camera planted, so that was there. This is the meeting room of, I think, the senior officials of the Stasi. This might have been the director's private room, um, but it was kind of cool. Okay, so this was amazing. This is like the OG gay op. I can't believe they were able to do this without the internet, but this was like their plan to discredit someone. The Ministry of State Security planned to send neighbors pornographic photos depicting the targeted person as a homosexual. An ad was going to be placed in West Berlin newspaper in which the target person offered his services as a top male model. Additionally, orders were made to be made in his name to an erotic mail order company. Use these unofficial collaborators to carry these out. This was to discredit a member of the West Berlin Social Democratic Party. So now the Communist Party in East Germany was called the Socialist Unity Party. Now I always thought it was called the Socialist Unity Party because it was about reuniting Germany. But it's called the Socialist Unity Party because it was a union of the Communist and Social Democratic Party. And that's just some stuff they used to open the mail. I forget what that is exactly. Oh, that's the steam generator for the letters. That's just a camera and a radio. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I just thought that translation was kind of weird because they call the CSU the Christian Socialists. It's I think it's Christian in the English translation at CSU is Christian Social Union. I just thought that was kind of weird that they translated it that way. Okay, so this was at the Espionage Museum. This was one I just went to because I happened to have my city password for it. It was maybe the most pleasant surprise, one of the most pleasant surprises on my entire trip. They had so many gadgets. They had they had that cylinder thing that they had in like the Da Vinci Code that if you don't open it properly, it destroys the message. They had all kinds of just spy stuff. This is an original Enigma. It was kind of cool to see one. There's a destroyed one there, but they had an original intact one, so it was really cool to get to see that. There is a whole bunch of gadgets. There's a pipe pistol. That was the shoes with the listening device in it. That was a watch with a microphone. A cigarette with a microphone. Ironically, because the East German electronics industry sucked, a lot of the electronic listening devices actually were purchased in West Germany, and then used to spy on people in East Germany, which was kind of cool. Um, there's the key case with camera. Then there's the belt buckle microphone. There's kind of a cool thing they had there where they give you an office and you have to sweep it for bugs, and they give you a certain amount of time, which is kind of neat. They have like this big display on all the various defectors in German history and stuff like that. We have like the ballpoint pen camera, the fake the glass eye container for like microfilm. They just had a whole. I only took a couple pictures of these, but there was a whole bunch of stuff. That was a briefcase that was set up to take pictures. That was a bra camera. That was kind of cool. That was a cigarette packet camera. Those were lighter cameras. This is really cool. It's very, very Bondish. That was I think a knife camera or a knife transmitter. They had a Dragunov, which I just took a picture of because the Dragunov is just such a cool looking rifle. That was a fold apart gun for a violin case. That is a Scorpion submachine gun. I forget what that was. That was a mini pistol. I think that you could fit in I think that's a wallet. That is a pen. That's a gun. So there's that, and then that's the Reichstag. Okay, so there is a quest I was on. This was something I really wanted to see while I was in Berlin. So let's just okay. So there's a very one of the most iconic photos of World War II. Soviet soldier Reichstag. So yeah, so this is the really famous picture of the Soviet soldier on the corner of the Reichstag after the German surrender. So I was trying to figure out where this was. It took a while. I had to look it up and stuff like that. So I think ultimately where this is there. I'm pretty sure that that's it. That yeah, up there. There isn't a plaque, but if you notice, it's the only one that doesn't have a cap on it. So I'm pretty sure that's where the photo was taken. So maybe that's a weird thing to be excited about, but it's just such an iconic photo. And then this building, I think, is yeah, there you. I think that that's the building there. Um, oops. I mean, it looks like it, but yeah, that was kind of something. Yeah, so I took a couple pictures of this. The Pergamon was unfortunately closed, and so I took. But they had this diorama. Now I couldn't really take good pictures of it just because of the way that the whole thing was set up. Um. Uh. But it was like a 6 or 7 story diorama or panorama of Pergamon of like a whole bunch of different stuff happening. It's once again, it's very hard to give a sense of scale. I tried to get a picture too with some people just to show you how big this thing was. But yeah, so they had that. That was a statue of Athena. They had a couple of their best pieces out. I just thought that that was a really good statue. So that's just why I took a piece of it. Statue of Zeus. Thought that was kind of a cool mosaic. So this is the. Trying to remember the. I'm just trying to double check. This is the National Gallery. Although I didn't. The next pictures aren't from there. So this is from the new museum. So we'll go through these. Hopefully, I removed all the reflective ones. So this is the Egyptian history one from Museum Island. It was something that was just actually a very pleasant surprise. I didn't even really know that much about it, but you just had some amazing pieces here. That's where the what's it called the statue of Nefertiti was. They also had a huge collection of migration age stuff. I've never really seen that much stuff. I've never seen much stuff from the migration age. So it was really cool to be able to see that stuff as well. So that's a statue of Isis. I just thought that was a really detailed statue. There's some stuff. Something that I just kind of found as I was going through this is that the stuff is just in such good shape. You know what I mean? Like this is what, like 4 or 5 thousand years old, and it looks like it was only painted a couple years ago. It's kind of amazing, just how like detailed and just in good shape it was, and that was just kind of something. Like as I was going through this whole place, I was just kind of blown away by what good condition everything was in. It was a Sphinx. Once again, I just thought that was in good condition. That was, I think that's raw. I'm not sure exactly though. Once again, this was, that's not the blue head, but just once again, look at the detail. I got a couple decent pictures. Most of my pictures were look kind of shitty looking, but some of them look really nice. Just look at that. That is beautiful. Once again, that's like what 6,000 years old or what out 4 or 5,000 years old. I mean, it doesn't look worn down at all. I mean, there's pieces broken. Apparently, one of the reasons why sometimes Egyptian statues are missing noses is it was thought if they smashed the nose on them, then they couldn't breathe in the afterlife. Just another statue, another statue. That is the legendary green head. Um it's just a very famous piece they have. They're not really sure who it is, but they just call it the green head because it's made out of green stone. But just look at that detail with all the wrinkles and stuff like that. Just very, very impressive. The side view of the green head. They had like a whole wall from a temple there. Once again, I know I'm going to keep repeating this, but just to see how good shape all this stuff was in was pretty fascinating. They had a whole area of sarcophagi. I thought this one was really cool looking. It's made out of, I don't know if it's slate or granite or whatever the black stone is, but it looked really impressive. That one looked really cool too. Um, yeah, there's just a bunch of those I took pictures of. Just some more Egyptian stuff. Let's just stay. I think that is from the. I forget if that's a needle or a. I think that might be a pen. I think that's a pen. I can't remember what it was. I don't recall why I took a picture of it. I think that they use that for ink or to etch into something. That was just kind of a cool model they had of the. I think that's I forget that's Karnak or the Great Pyramid or whatever. The whole kind of building is just kind of cool. In the basement, you got the vaulted ceilings. It does give you a very Egyptian tomb vibe to it. I think that is from the Ptolemaic era, and you start to see kind of these interesting mixtures of styles between Egyptian and Roman, and it's kind of like they had this as kind of this was from Roman Egypt, where you have like the kind of the Roman style painting mixed with uh the embalmment. And that was just kind of a cool picture. The sarcophagi up close, they had all this like papyri. Once again, this is all like 4 or 5 thousand years old. Really cool. I thought that was a really cool just bird statue. I forget what they're called. Ibis? If they're ibis. I forget. I think that's the god Thoth, maybe. This was cool. This was a massive tablet. There's some sandals. I thought that was kind of cool. That was a kid's toy. Um, with like the moving crocodile mouth. I think that was from like thousands of years ago. I forget what that was. I think that was for painting. They took the entire like front of a temple or something like that, and it's in the stairwells, which was pretty cool. I just thought it was funny that it's called the Middle Kingdom is called the Middle Reich. I just thought that was kind of funny. Um, just once again some neat architecture. I just thought that was cool how detailed those hands were. Once again, just remarkably intact and detailed for something from like 4 or 5,000 years ago. I was from Rome. I didn't take too many pictures of the Rome stuff. So this is migration age stuff. So this is stuff right before and immediate during and immediately after the barbarian invasions. So we have all this kind of like crude jewelry from the time period, which is kind of neat. That really old style of how crowns used to be made. Like I said, they just had this massive collection of migration age stuff, all just kind of barbarian jewelry, like with the Goths, Visigoths, stuff like that would be. Belt buckles were a really big thing back in the day. There's a lot of belt buckles. A lot of German women wore their dresses like pinned up on the shoulders, so there's a lot of ornate pins for that, which I think was pretty cool. Sorry if you find this boring. I just thought it was cool because I'd never seen a lot of this stuff before. Like I've seen Egyptian stuff before, and but I hadn't seen anything really. Even in Britain, I didn't see much of that quality. Also, this stuff was just really neat because, like I said, I haven't seen much from the like 5th, 6th, and 7th century. That was a folding knife from the migration age, which I thought was pretty cool, actually. I didn't even really know they made those back then. And then that's a comb that somebody made. The Germans were known for liking to care for their hair. That's especially what the Vikings are known for. This was wire, actually, from the migration age, which I just thought was cool that they could like make it back then, and it looks just like modern wire. This is the gold hat. This is, I forget what the story is. This is just something they found somewhere in Berlin. I forget if it's made of gold or not, but it's just this giant hat made out of gold. And no one's entirely sure what it is. As you can see, this man staring at it, wondering what the fuck it even is. So, just that. Let's see. And then we have some gallery. I recall this being a very famous. Which Kaiser is that again? Is that Francis the Second? I think that's Francis the Second, maybe. Um, I just I recognize that picture, so I taken a picture of it just because I remember seeing it somewhere before. I think that that is Francis the Second. Now this is something that's always bothered me. Is he always looked like someone to me, and I realized it was Peter Cushing, and that had been bothering me for a really long time. This was a picture. I didn't take a picture of every painting. It just if there was a painting I thought was especially cool, or that I had seen somewhere before, I took a picture of it. Uh, I'm pretty sure I've seen that one somewhere. I just some of these like I I've I know I've seen them. I just can't recall where it's from. A lot of the time it's from Paradox Games or from Wikipedia. I just thought that was a really cool one. Uh actually that's funny. On here we go. On historychannel.com, that is the picture that they have for the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Seeing that in person. I'm pretty sure that's I recall that being like one of the main portraits of Bismarck. I know I've seen that in a lot of places. I just took a couple pictures of those. That's Frederick the Great. That is, I think, a very famous picture of Wagner. Um, I know I've seen that painting in a number of places, but that was kind of cool. It's another, I think that's Bismarck. That's another Bismarck one. Once again, I feel like I've seen these. I'm not sure because there's a number of depictions, but I can't recall where I've seen these specific ones. My mother's just a very big fan of Vincent van Gogh, so I just took some pictures of the paintings there for her. Okay, so just some other art. I just like this one. I feel like I've seen this somewhere, and just the colors are very vivid. Just kind of impressively so. Just how much they stand out. I thought was kind of neat. This I just thought was a really cool painting. Just very intricate the way the ruined castle was set up. Uh, Knight's Castle. It's another one I feel like I've seen. I just can't recall where. But that was really cool. I like that this one I feel is almost like photorealistic. In terms of just how detailed it looks and just the coloring and lighting looks almost perfect. I really like that one. I'm pretty sure that this is a. I've seen this one of the. If people have seen these before, let me know. I'm pretty sure I've seen this picture of the Annunciation before. Um, I don't recall where. It just is familiar to me. I remember seeing this one somewhere also. I just don't recall where either. Okay, so this was I got super lucky. As you may or may not know, Caspar David Friedrich is my favorite painter. He's the favorite painter of a lot of people in the dissident right. I actually have a like a cloth print of Wander Above the Sea of Clouds next to my desk. So they had an exhibit on him both here in Berlin and in Dresden. So they had a bunch of his paintings there, and they had a bunch of them in Dresden as well. So they had this one. I always thought this was just a really cool one. Um, I don't. I probably won't have a ton to say about these, but that was another one. I just really like the use of space and sky. A lot of his paintings kind of are inverses of other paintings he's done, or kind of alternative versions, which is cool. Once again, I like the very like morose nature of these. Sick. So yeah, and then there's Ludwig Richter who does very similar stuff. That almost looks like a D&D character, to be honest. That's cool. I just like the color scheme. I like romantic era paintings a lot. That tends to be my favorite style. I have like I'm not very good at enjoying art. To be perfectly honest, I like to see it because it's like something sophisticated and it's culture and it's part of my heritage. I have very poor emotional effect when it comes to these sorts of things. So Yeah, this is the Berlin Cathedral. A number of German kings are buried here, or I guess Prussian kings. Beautiful building. One of the problems with Europe is there's so many beautiful cathedrals. It kind of like the impact starts to wear off after a while. You're like, oh, there's another breathtaking marvel of medieval engineering, that kind of thing. That is the pulpits are always really cool too. Just all the gold and stuff like that. I like the color scheme of this one, the white, gold, and black. Once again, very Prussian, very German. That was Frederick Wilhelm. Frederick the Third is buried there. Frederick the First. That's just another thing you'll have in a lot of cathedrals in Europe is you'll just randomly have sarcophagi there of famous people just kind of lying around. It's just very interesting as a North American. A lot of how it's just different there. That was the entryway, I think, to the cathedral. Just kind of a cool thing. That says, I believe, fight racism, anti-Semitism, nationalism, and hate. So this was on the... Which museum was this again? I might just wind up doing Berlin in this. Maybe I'll do Dresden and Prague. Just this is taking longer than I thought it was going to. I don't mean that as a bad thing. I just don't know if I'll have the energy to go through another one. This is the Altez Museum. This is the 19th century art museum, I believe. So let's take a look at this. Or maybe I didn't go inside yet. Okay, there's some more kind of cool buildings around Berlin. This was okay. So this is a bit of a story. So whenever I'm in Europe, I just find it hard to find vegetables normally. I think Europeans tend to make them at home, but it's kind of hard to find like a salad or some sort of wrap or I'm used to eating a lot more vegetables in my diet and less of it just being bread and meat and cheese, which I prefer, but I just feel like stuff like that. So so this was a Canadian restaurant apparently. This was the Frittenwerk. It was Canadian street food inspired, so I got the falafel bowl. It actually was pretty good. I got a couple of things like that. I was just trying to get some like fiber in my diet. Then I also got these two pastries afterwards. This was one of the best things I've ever eaten. Oh, it's just beautiful, the custard in it. This was actually surprising because this was actually fairly hard and kind of almost a bit crunchy. It was like crunchy and gooey and chewy and just amazing. Wow. There's the Bundesrat. Okay, and yeah, so the Computing Museum. Or sorry, the German Museum of Science and Technology. So this is one of the ones. Did I lose any weight on Eurofood? I didn't weigh myself, to be honest. I didn't gain any weight, that's for sure. I actually did not have any currywurst when I was in Berlin. To be honest. So this is the Museum of Science and Technology. This was one of the ones I went to just because it was on my pass, but it was actually really, really cool. Um, because they had like all of these really old computers, like first generation computers, which was kind of neat. Just some of the stuff there. This was I think this was a mechanical computer, which I thought was really cool because I'd never really seen a mechanical computer before. So I guess they used these prior to to electronics. This thing, it's just massive. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was neat. And then they had just some other kind of early parts. This is what early memory looked like. This is made out of iron. This was from like the 1950s, which I just thought looked really cool. Looks like something from an alien movie, to be honest. Is iron core memory. That is a drum memory. That's an early hard drive or something like that from the 1950s. I forget what that was exactly, but they just had all this like I was surprised. Like I've never seen kind of like old computer stuff like that, and it was kind of cool. And they had a bunch of stuff about it. And then they just have like a whole bunch of early radios and early televisions and all these different styles. They have like they had this thing was kind of cool. Um there was a record player, a radio, and a TV all in one. You got the nice wood finish, which is neat. I had to cut some of these out just because it was reflecting, but um, yeah, like there's just all these kind of neat radios. There was all kinds of stuff. There was also they had Edison cylinders there. Um, if you've never seen an Edison cylinder, that's pretty neat and stuff like that. That was a loom from the Industrial Revolution. So this building is massive. They had the computers, they had the televisions, the radios. Um, yes, I took a picture of the Ontario themed restaurant. We will get to that at some point. We might not get to that tonight because it's taking longer than I thought it would. But I did take pictures of the Ontario restaurant. I did not go to the Ontario restaurant. I did take pictures of it though. The person at Dresden Information where I picked up my pass was actually Canadian, and they said that it was like it was garbage. So this was a ivory. I think this is ivory ship. I love ivory. Ivory is such a beautiful material. It's a shame that you have to kill elephants or I guess you also get ivory from walruses and stuff because I don't like killing elephants, but it is such just a beautiful material. And this is how intricate that this was. I thought that was really cool. They have the German. Is that a Eurocopter? From World War II. So it's kind of that's a carrier pigeon from World War One. I forget what that was. So they had probably about 20 to 30 um airplanes in here. It's kind of hard. This gives you a bit of an idea, just the organized chaos. They just had like airplanes hanging from the ceiling all over the place, absolutely everywhere. The flying wing that the Norton brothers or Horton brothers came up with. That is a Junkers 87. I forget what aircraft that was from. Um, it's had a lot of rare and interesting aircraft. I think I can't remember what some of these are. So I didn't take too many more pictures from there, but that place just went on and on and on and on. They had like a giant, I didn't take pictures of it, but they had this giant train shed with like a dozen trains in it. I didn't even get through everything because I had to go somewhere else. But if you're ever in Germany, that's definitely like a highlight. Just if you're interested in like aircraft or computers or electronics or anything. They also had like I didn't even show you the ship part. There's a whole part on ships. You could like go and look at the engines and stuff. Very cool. So this was the trying to remember which museum this is. This was the I think this was one of the national galleries they had there. It's not too important. Although it was kind of a funny looking Pope Sylvester Sixtus the Fifth. This kind of looks like Santa Claus. This I thought was really cool. This is ivory, I think, once again. Just all the figures coated, kind of mixed together. That was an altarpiece they had. It's once again, I feel like I've seen this before, but just a lot of these Orthodox style ones just kind of look similar. But I thought that was very beautiful. This I just thought was funny. I forget what it was called. That's probably a Moor, I guess. Um, and then there was that, and then the lion eating the bull, prepping the bull, as it were. There's kind of the little cool Athena owl token. I forget which emperor that is. I think I thought that just looked kind of cool. That was the metaphor of the symbolic representation of death that I thought was kind of neat looking. Um, yeah, as part of kind of a series. This was a cool painting. That's Jacob's Ladder. I do like how it kind of fades away. Really cool effect. This is a famous picture of Philip II. I'm not sure if this is the picture that they have for him on Wikipedia. Or it's gotta be one of the main ones I think of him. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm looking at some websites use this as their painting of Philip II. So it was kind of cool to once again see that in person. And then this was the last picture, Berlin. It's like an angel giving like a solo, like giving a guitar solo, which I just thought was kind of funny. So yeah, so that was the trip to Berlin. I'm not gonna do Dresden. I think I think this has gone on long enough, and I need to get to bed soon. But yeah, I hope people thought that was interesting. I'll do more. Just kind of a cozy stream, taking a look at some of the stuff. Uh, Giving you maybe some tips if you're going to go there, describing my experiences. So, anyways, yeah, I would recommend going to Berlin, if only for the museums. A lot of the city is very hit or miss. A lot of people here probably would not like it because they view it as just kind of looking too modern. But on the whole, I like Berlin. I would definitely recommend going.